Welcome, my darlings, to my humble chateau. Please make yourself very comfortable. Relax your mind and release your imagination to me. I will bring you a story to entrance and entertain. Perhaps a frightening one. Perhaps a steampunk. Perhaps a bit of mythology. Anyway, sit back, enjoy, and subscribe to me. Sam by Gelfwyn. John and Anita moved into the house behind mine 7 years ago. Just another young couple starting out. She was always cheerful and worked as a vet tech while continuing her schooling. She kept up the hope that one day she would become an actual veterinarian. John had moved them here because he had gotten a job at the local factory. He seemed a good match for her, open and friendly. The pair were quickly considered a part of the community. 3 years later, he was a manager, and she found Sam. He was hiding behind a trash can, a matted ball of fur hardly bigger than a hand. She cleaned him up and got him healthy and loved him with no reserve. Sam was something special. She took better care of him than some people took of their kids. Sam was more a dog than a cat in ways. Aloof? Nope. Strangers were just future minions to him. He grew to 15 pounds of solid black fluff that had a tiny kitten mew and tail enough for 2 cats. If Anita was home, he was right beside her. He made her life complete, it seems. Even John seemed to adore that furry comedian. Sam was the highlight of my day sometimes. If the day was nice, when she came home, she would have dinner on the patio, and Sam would chase imaginary mice about the backyard we shared. He would come racing up to me, chirping little kitten mews, leaping into the chair with me flopping upside down, back legs against the chair back and head on my knee. He would grab my arm so I'd pet his throat and purr like a Harley engine. Then there were the stories about life with Sam, such as the day he mistook Bubbles for Solid Surface. Bath time went from relaxing to life-threatening to hear the story from John as Anita blushed, then got revenge telling the tale of him leaping into the shower, and John fleeing the bathroom wrapped in the torn-down shower curtain. I got to witness the poodle encounter, a tiny black fluff ball like him. Sam ran up to it thinking, hey, a cat friend like me. Then it barked. Sam managed to triple in size, forget how to walk, and sound like a kitten being murdered, all at the same time. The poodle just sat with head tilted and one ear lifted. I supposed it was trying to figure out what was happening. Then Anita tried gardening. He helped. Honestly. Caught bugs, got stung by a bee, managed to roll the sprouts flat repeatedly. But a few things survived him and grew. That's when he started bringing me gifts. Having a cat pawing at your patio door while holding a green bean, or a cherry tomato is sure to lighten your mood. Watch him drag a whole carrot, top and everything across the yard, had John and I both laughing. Anita, not so much. Seemed the only thing in her garden he left alone was the catnip plants. At one point, he even brought me a cucumber. You know, the things that cats are supposed to be terrified of. Life was good. Well, until a year ago. John lost his job when the factory closed down. So did a few hundred people. Hit the area hard. The first few months were still good. He had hope, but it faded. Then he found a friend in liquor. First time I saw Anita sitting out on her deck at 2 a.m., holding Sam close and crying. I knew something was really wrong. Over the next months, her nocturnal sessions increased. The yelling seemed nightly, and I almost went insane the first time I saw Anita with a black eye. She said to hold off. John wasn't like this. Once he was working again, life would be normal. Only he wasn't even looking anymore. Anita quit school. She worked 2 jobs to keep the house going. John took up residence in the local bar. She kept trying to make the marriage work out, even attending the new church he had found on Sundays, some sort of Bible-beating, ultra-religious thing that believed men could do no wrong. On those days I had Sam, so he wasn't trapped alone all day. Truth is, she started trying to keep Sam out of John's sight. Even after church, he would come home and rant nonsense from the Bible. Her caution was needed, as it turned out. Somehow John had it in his head that he had been cursed, that something evil was in the house, some token of bad luck. He was set on purging anything from the house that might be considered unholy. One night, he decided Sam was the curse. An evil black cat had to be what was cursing him. He managed to kick Sam before Anita could stop him. Bruised but not badly injured by some stroke of luck, Anita had finally admitted there was a real problem. Anita brought him to me, crying her eyes out the next day. She didn't dare leave Sam alone with John anymore. She couldn't let him be hurt. Sam liked me, and I loved him almost as much as she did. It took 2 stumbling trips to bring everything to me. At least this way she knew he was safe, loved, and could see him. I watched her heart breaking as she walked out. Mine did as he ran to the patio door and pawed at it. The tiny, distressed mews turning to actual yowls. She was Sam's world. Every evening while John was at the bar, she came sneaking in, apologizing for disturbing me at the time. I told her that if she didn't come, Sam would make it impossible to sleep. She lost weight, gained more bruises. Sometimes she would just slide down to the floor and hold Sam like an infant, both of them needing that comfort. John came home earlier than usual one night, pounding on my back door, screaming about killing Sam, that the cat was evil. All black cats were bad luck. Witches. Kill Sam and he would be able to get a job again. If it hadn't been for the cat, that Anita would have given him a son like a proper wife. I called the police while Anita cringed, holding Sam in the bathroom. They took him away for the night and filed a restraining order for all the good that did. I came home a week later to my back patio door, busted in, and Sam dead on my kitchen table. That sick bastard had beaten the cat against every surface of my kitchen. Blood and black fur everywhere, and pinned the remains to my table with a butcher knife. I sent the police to Anita's work. I tried to clean it up, keep her from seeing it, but the moment the police came, she ran to my house. I'd seen her heart break. Now I was watching her soul shatter. She cradled the mangled body against her and just rocked back and forth. I swear I heard her humming. The police followed, and even they looked sickened by the sight. They called an ambulance when it became clear Anita was in severe shock. It was in a way a miracle. Had they not been standing there with us, had not seen that Anita was in an almost catatonic state, then we might have been murder suspects. But they were there when we heard the shouting, the glass breaking. One lifted Anita up and ran to the front yard, his partner calling desperately for additional backup. Gun drawn and covering our retreat from my house, he sat her down in the back seat of his patrol car, pushing at her to lie down. I got in on the other side. I pressed her down, covering her head with my body, trying not to retch at the scent of blood and death from the thing in her arms that had been Sam. Chaos, more sirens, lights, screaming and shouting, gunfire. I lost all track of time as I tried to protect and comfort Anita in that too hard backseat of the squad car. She never stopped the odd humming, never reacted to the sounds and lights, even when it was finally quiet and we were locked in the car. Eventually a pale deputy arrived, shaking as she opened the car. Paramedics pulled Anita out. She was limp, and they were able to remove the feline body from her grasp. I wrapped him up in a towel one of the officers had fetched from my bathroom. I finally learned a bit of what had happened. John was in their house, tearing it apart, screaming that he was going to kill that damn cat again till it stayed dead. And Anita as well. Something about a Bible verse. He'd been shouting at shadows in the house. I asked if they'd fired back, and the officer shook his head. Looked like he started slashing his face to ribbons with something right before we kicked the door down. He slashed his throat with it. They're looking for it now. Almost would say a cat's claw, if the pot was the size of a human hand. We will find it, I'm sure. Anita was sedated and taken to the hospital. With the help of one of the officers, took Sam's body to his favorite hiding place in my backyard. We buried him under the lilac bush. No one wanted to treat him as evidence, and no one wanted Anita to have to ever see that wrecked body again. Next day, a group of my coworkers and Anita came over. They scrubbed my kitchen, repainted and threw away the table, replaced the patio door, did everything we could to erase the night before. As long as you didn't look across the yard and see the bloody handprints on the windows of the house and the fluttering yellow tape. I walked over and looked through one of the windows. Something was written in blood on one of the walls. Exodus 22:18. Anita was released from the hospital, with no home to return to. So I took her in. At first I wondered if she really could handle being in the same house Sam was murdered in. Looking at the home that her dead husband had destroyed, she was still very groggy. The doctor gave me instructions for the sedatives to keep her on till she had a chance to start coping on her own. She went straight to the kitchen, smelling of fresh paint and Lysol. She opened the patio and for a moment thought would walk towards her old home. Instead, she sat down in the chair she always took when visiting. I wonder if I should show her where Sam was buried. Then she trilled that odd sound she always made to call him. I wanted to cry. I wanted to wrap my arms about her and tell her to stop it. But a tiny, squeaky mew, more of a kitten sound than a full-grown cat, answered. A muddy Sam came racing through the yard and leapt up onto her lap. She buried her face in the fur and cried. I was in shock, overjoyed this rare and special cat was alive. He hadn't been able to catch Sam, and instead had caught another black cat. That was why he'd beaten the body to make it unrecognizable. He wanted to torture Anita. Had tortured her. I did hug her and the filthy cat. She looked at me. Sam's back. He needs a bath. I was laughing to keep from crying, and I have a feeling he will require a blood sacrifice for that. No, he wants to be clean too. She was smiling with the look of a proud mother at her purring, green-eyed cat. Days later, the police released the house. A company came in and cleaned and removed all evidence of the gruesome suicide. Anita said she would like to remodel it, seeing as it was almost gutted now. I was shocked she was willing to move back into it, but she said it was her home and Sam's. I was mowing the yard while she talked with a contractor. I noticed the disturbed area beneath the lilac bush. The other cat, I thought. Poor thing. Was someone out there looking for it? I should contact the local animal control. Then I noticed it was dug up. No, it looked like something had crawled out of it. The dirt pushed out over the mulch rather than scraped away. I went back into the house. The bloody words I had seen written on one wall through the window the morning after. Exodus 22:18. The Bible was on the top shelf of my bookcase, a little neglected and dusty. Exodus 22:18. Thou shalt not suffer a witch to live. I heard Sam chirp and looked to see Anita standing there with him. John was an idiot. Only a human can be a witch. So quoth this raven. Oh, I know, my darlings, this has been done by other and better narrators, but I just so love this story. And I have a Sam of my own, a lovely black cat. I lost one earlier this summer, and another one showed up. She's rather getting on in years, but a very lovely, sweet cat nonetheless. And she picked me, so hey. Give Gelfwyn some love. Visit her page, Quill and Sword. She has some absolutely amazing stories and is rather busy at work. But I think very soon we will get a new collected tale, and I can't wait. It's such a wonderful series. For my new subscribers, go to my playlists and watch the Collected Tale series so you can catch up on it. Like this video if you did. Subscribe if you haven't, and ring the little bell so you know when to come up and see me sometime. Leave me a comment. Tell me what you thought, and I'll try and comment back. Bye-bye, my darlings.